Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Lady Elegance Pritchard, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you. Dizzle. Mic check. Well, I can't complain too much. Leah Cole, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you. It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It's on.
Friends and your friends, come on.
Come on, come on.
It's a moment of the show tonight. Mailbag is time. Sinclair's on the mic.
Want to get it song, you still trouble in your home. Got you tripping, don't know right from wrong. Send a letter to the show so we can talk you through. Get the answers to your questions, because we speak that truth. Sometimes you doubt yourself, lost your health. Faith is on the fence, but you believe that Jesus knows your well. Keep it moving, spirit flowing, because we're here to provide someone to lean on when you're falling. Wednesday 8 and 9, and it's on.
8 to 9, and it is on. Trying to figure out why I got so many effects. What? I think somebody been tampering with the product up in this camp. Mic check 1 2. Mic check. Let me see. Let me take all this off. Mic check. Mic check. Testing 1 2. I don't know what's going on. Getting a little extra impact or something. I thought I turned everything off. But anyway, we're going to get down with the get down, because that's how we get down. And I am going to figure this out on the fly, if you will. You know what? I know what it might be. Let me go to my settings. Go to audio. And let me see. I don't know, man. We're going to act like it is what it is. First of all, I want to thank all of you all who continue to send your mailbag questions and comments to sinclairtalk@outlook.com. I'm going to continue to address as many as possible whenever I'm on the air to reach you, because y'all are the valued listeners. And what does that mean, people? That means you value, because without you all, there would be no me. Wouldn't be no reason for me to be up here on this show. I could be asleep. Y'all could be watching something during this prime time hour. But it is what it is. Since we here together, this is how we get down. All right. Let me see who was the first one on the show tonight. Gwendolyn Lady Elegance Pritchard saying good evening to you all from Huntsville, Alabama. I ain't gonna tell y'all, because most of y'all don't even know where Huntsville, Alabama is. Let me see who else out there. Jay Dizzle was number 2. I ain't even gonna start playing around showing all y'all little comments. Then we had Leah Cole Train. What's going on? Detective Pamela Black, glad I ain't going on anymore. And people, there go my mama. Hey, mama. That right there. So I'm just telling you, it's a lot of people up here peeping in on us, see what's going on. Some of y'all be peeping in, looking and checking us out, but you don't want to let me know you on the show. I don't even know what the purpose of that is. Don't hide, be about that. You're going to watch from a distance with your binoculars on. Come on into the show. Y'all know how y'all got some of y'all got them neighbors that they ain't gonna come by and speak, but they be sitting on their porch watching your house all the time, looking through the binoculars. Hey, that's how people be doing out here in social media land. They don't want to come in. They don't want to say what's up. They want to hang out across the street and be like, I saw the show. But it is what it is. So it is what it is, and it will be what it will be today. Look, we're going to talk about the craziest topic. I think I first saw it because Chris Park sent it to me. And he's one of them, people. There go y'all boy, Thomas Mimi Mims, a.k.a. the Mimster, a.k.a. Mr. I'll eat your food out of the refrigerator at the work site if I get to it before you do, a.k.a. Mr. You better fix enough for two if you want to get your lunch. That's him, Mimi Mims. Tawanda Smith, what's going on, girl? Glad to see you up here enjoying life with us tonight. And anyway, people, so yeah, Chris Park sends me this video, and he ain't one of them ones that just be feathering around with foolery. So I said, you know what? If he done sent it to me, let me go inside and check out what's going on. And what, to my surprise, did I spy with my eyes? Some tomfoolery. And we're going to talk about it tonight. But anyway, before we get on to that, let me say a few things to the generalized public. Thomas Mims said, who has some White Castles? Listen, people, if you work around Thomas Mims, with Thomas Mims, near him, and you got them little frozen White Castle burgers, don't put them in no refrigerator. This man already out here looking for your snacks. And that's a sign right there. He's like one of them non-embarrassing types of predators. He's like, hey, look, if you're going to bring something next week for lunch and put it in the refrigerator for you, make whatever you bring some White Castles, because I like White Castles. Ain't nobody sitting up here filling no orders for you, Thomas Mims. But anyway, look here, people. Couple of things. Look, people. Real talk, real talk. First, I am extremely proud. A lot of y'all been keeping up with your steps, and I'm gonna tell y'all, we doing good with it. We doing good with it. We have reached some milestones. We done hit the 90 pounds in five and a half months. I think it's been about 5.5 months. So we proud of that. We done lost 90 pounds. All right. And let me tell y'all something. I can attribute some of it to Wagovi, but I attribute most of it to these steps to 2.5 miles a day. Just start off with 2.5. If you're willing to do that, I give you my word. First thing gonna happen is you're gonna start eating different. I ain't even gonna say you eating better, because if Mimi Mims let y'all know, look, you can. I done lost these 91, and I've been eating fried chicken, pork chops. Now, and in fairness, I don't eat as much, you know. I eat pasta. Man, we eat everything. I ain't even gonna lie, you know, but it's about moderation and putting in that exercise. Mimi Mims say he hit 5 miles today and 72 miles this month. That's the Mimster for y'all. And while I'm not promoting you cigarette smokers, but I must admit that the Mimster has found a way to utilize cigarette smoking to his advantage in his health game. How does he do it? Because He operates on a smokeless campus, meaning there is only one strip that you can, it's a road that leads to the outside of the campus. That's the only place he can smoke at. And Mimi Mims has to walk about 2 miles or a mile and a half, almost 2 miles, every time he wants to puff, pass on them cigarettes. And so if he smokes cigarettes 2-3 times a day, he gonna hit that 5 to 6 mile step count. And so while we are definitely not promoting that bad habit of smoking them cigarettes, if you're gonna have a bad habit, mix in a good one with it. Get yourself out there, get that cardio going. And again, people, listen. I want to be fair and you know, last couple of months, we done had 100-mile months. I'd had a lot of stuff, you know, going on, so I haven't been as diligent in my steps. Mims, I think I might only be at like 3-5, but that's okay because I understand what the pitfalls was during this period of time. So, all kind of stuff going on. So I'm just letting y'all know that, look, you can do it. Get your steps in, drink that water. And I don't just drink water. I be drinking Kool-Aid every single day. Sure do. Every time I see Mims with some Kool-Aid, I be like, hey, man, do they got some Kool-Aid, man? So I do drink water every day. I do drink Kool-Aid. I do eat, but I eat in moderations. And over the last 5 months, Sandra Key, what's going on? Glad to see you. You know, we didn't hit that 91-pound mark. And so I say all those things to you to say my body type is different than your body type. So I can only tell you what has worked for me and what I've seen work for other people. I've seen some people that walk a little bit less. And in the last 3 months, they done lost 25, 28 pounds. And I want you all to think to yourself that the ability to do this is just based on a commitment. Cassandra's talking about stop drinking Kool-Aid. Girl, you must have lost your mind. And here's in fairness. I really don't drink sodas like that. I only drink sodas every blue moon. And that's like, you know how sometimes you might not have had one for a month and you wake up, you be like, man, I need something strong to drink. But what I found, and I've tinkered around with this, again, I'm only talking about my body now. I've tinkered around with it because I needed to know how certain things would impact me. So, like I said, I know that sodas don't agree with me well, so I don't play around with them too much. I know that Kool-Aid doesn't really bother me that much. So as long as I'm walking, I'm still losing. And that's that thing right there. I know pasta doesn't bother me as long as I'm getting the cardio in with it. It's a whole lot of different things. And if any of you have some little things that you do that have allowed you to get in better shape, lose weight, and keep it off, because it's not just about losing it. Let me be honest with you, because I know people that lose far more with different plans, and I don't want to call them fads because if it works for you, it works for you. But you want to have a change in lifestyle. And that's an essential piece of anything. If you want something to be better, if you want your health to be better, you got to change your lifestyle. You want your lifestyle to be better, you got to change your lifestyle. You want your professional career to be better, you got to do some things to improve your professional career. Everything is about you evaluating you. And so I keep a small ledger of what I consume, how it impacts me, those types of things. Learn your body and then learn how your body responds to certain things. And you too can have fried chicken, pork chops. Man, like I said, it don't matter. I eat the same types of foods. I just don't eat the same volumes of them. And I've got this daily routine of exercise in there, so it has worked for me. Anyway, enough about that. Matter of fact, let me send a shout out too, because I know Annie Moore be getting her steps. Mimi Mims get his steps in. Leetta Cole gets her steps in. I know Jay Dizzle gets his steps in. It's some more people. If you've been getting your steps in and I didn't give you a shout out, let me know. I definitely want to do it. And if you got some other routine that you do that's working for you, hey, I give you the hand claps and congratulations. There's no one thing that is the best thing. It's what's best for you that you can commit to. All right. Yeah, that right there. So let me say this. If you saw the little notification that I sent out today about what the show was going to be about, I do not know why I'm so sleepy. Again, Chris Park sent me a video, and the video was about a band director who was tased and arrested because he wouldn't stop playing the music. Now, I know when I say that, some of y'all gonna be like, man, you making this up if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it, I'm pretty sure that tonight we'll branch off into some areas that some of you all may agree with me and some of you may not. Because I am very conflicted about this video. First of all, how many of you out there in listening land had a chance to see that video, or somebody told you about the band director who got the stun gun put on him and was arrested? Anybody? Or y'all ain't talking to me tonight? Y'all was telling me to stay away from Kool-Aid, but y'all ain't got nothing else to say. Anyway, so let me read to you all. Maybe I can show y'all this. We'll find out here in a second. All right, so it says, what began as a routine band performance of Talking Out the Side of Your Neck by Cameo at an Alabama high school football game ended in a troubling confrontation when a police officer tased the marching band for refusing to stop the music. The altercation occurred Thursday around 9 p.m. local time after a game at Jackson Olin High School in Birmingham, Alabama. Minor High School and band director John Mims. Mimi Mims, this dude last name is Mims. It's probably one of your cousins down there acting up. And his ensemble of 145 students were about a minute away from being done with their final song when a police officer approached the podium. According to both Mims and the Birmingham Police Department, officers asked Mims to stop the performance so they could clear out the stadium. Stop playing the music so we can get these people out of here. It was alleged that Mims responded that the song was about to end and the performance was agreed on by both schools. All right, so let's start with there. So, Mimi Mims, not our Mimi Mims, but a Mimi Mims, down in Alabama, got the kids out there playing music. And all right, so let me see. Leetta said she saw it. Cassandra said she heard about it, didn't see it. James said he saw all the videos. All right. So Mims' potential cousin, Mimi Mims said, can't stop, won't stop. And so they were down there playing the music that the band director said both schools agreed to the performance. Nikki Carter, what's going on? The arch nemesis done popped in a little late, but we still gonna let her ride with us tonight. Lady Elegance Pritchard said, you know she's seen it because she's down there in Alabama. Matter of fact, Lady Elegance, can you tell me why y'all always got some tomfoolery going on in Alabama? I don't understand it. Brother Sizemore, what's going on? Glad to see you on the show tonight. But yeah, so the band director says, and you know, we like to take all the facts and put them in perspective. So beginning, we understand that the band was playing at the end of the game. Game goes off, the clock goes off. They're clearing the field. And the band director has been told previously, we're going to play these songs. So he's down to the last song, right? He's down to the last song by Cameo, and the band is getting it in. Truth be told, the band was good. So the police officer who approached him said, hey, man, y'all gonna have to kill that noise. We're trying to get everybody out here. And because of the fact that y'all out here grooving and jamming and getting your next sequence of soulful sounds on, people ain't getting out of here as fast as they should. So the police was blaming the non-compliance of the attendees of the now over football game. Dr. Beverly Keith, what's going on? The police was blaming the fact that the people were non-compliant on the fact that I got the music. The music made them do it. Nicky Carter said he didn't deserve to be tased or arrested. That remains to be seen. So when the police rolls up on the band director, all righty, now they go Big Rod. Big Rod, what's going on? Glad to see you in his house. When the police approach the band director and tell him, hey, man, you're going to have to cut that noise. You know your people ain't finna get from out of here with all this soulful sounds streaming up. The band director was like, hey, man, can you get up out my way? We got this performance going on. The officer in the video is explaining to him, hey, bro, we ain't trying to hear all that you talking about. You need to kill that noise. We trying to clear the place out. The game is over. The buzz of that sound. We trying to get up out of here because we got to get up out of here just like y'all do. I don't care where you go, but you're going to get up out of here. Now, I added my own flavor to that, but essentially that's what took place. The band director, and this is me remixing it, but you can judge for yourself, was like, man, miss me with that noise. I done told you, we playing this Cameo song and proceeds to, y'all know how them band directors do. They get to over, he call them for the percussions. Then he call it, man, he cuts the directing the blankety blank out of that band. I'm talking about he was doing the hand signals like a crossing guard to him, and they was responding. Now, there's two problems with this little scenario. First of all, it did seem like he was a little bit spiteful about, man, get up out my face type activity. The other part, and to answer y'all questions that you haven't asked, these police was black. So you can't blame this on my Anglo-Saxon compadres. These were some brothers and sisters. And they was talking reckless. And they was like, you gonna get up out of here and tell this band to stop, because if not, you gonna get arrested. Man, that brother was like, look, can you get up, look, doing his hand like this to the officer. Man, get up out my way. Nicky Carter said the drum line grooving out there. Absolutely. I am not going to take nothing away from the band because they did that. But the brother was telling the police with the hand signals, man, get up out my face so I could tell them. Now, I'm going to tell you where we started having these, where I became conflicted. Because truth be told, sometimes y'all folks be antagonizing the police for no reason. This was one of them times, in my opinion. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. Sometimes we can have the easiest time dealing with the police if we just consider, is it worth it? See, a lot of y'all do stuff in your life, and because you ain't had no consequence, you don't factor in the consequence. You never ask yourself, is it worth it? I'll give y'all a prime example. So today I'm driving, trying to get to my destination. And in my attempt to get to my destination, running my mouth on the phone, probably a million things on me, tiny little mind, I found myself doing approximately 67 miles per hour in a 45. Yes. Yes, I did. Now, anybody who knows anything about the eastern part of North Carolina, there's a little area called Hobgood. Hobgood is a place where when you get in town, the speed limit is 20 miles an hour. Outside of it is probably 35, at the most 45. And most people know don't play around in Hobgood because they believe in putting them lights on you. And they're non-discriminatory. They'll put the lights on white or black. So James said he already know where this is going. No, James, just the opposite. I'm about to tell y'all something. So much like the band director, I was approached by the police. And in this case, I was in the wrong. 100% in the wrong. So I'm in the Bearmobile, and I see him put the lights on me. Thomas Mims said, that's the Cotton Town. James said he came through the day. So as I proceeded to pull over to what we call in the country, the shoulder of the road. See, some of y'all don't know no language like that because you're not from the southern parts of the world. So you don't know what the shoulder of the road is because you're a little bougier than others. But I pulled over to the shoulder of the road because those lights, for those of you who don't quite understand what it means, when you see them blue lights, that means pull over. Pull over. If they ain't looking for you, they're going to go past you. But if they are looking for you, they're going to get behind you. So I did the absolute right thing. You know, we all want to make it back to the house in one piece. So what did I do? I pulled over to the shoulder of the road. Nice, clean cut shoulder of the road. It was a cotton field on one side and looked like some corn on the other side. And I turn off my vehicle. See, some of y'all don't know nothing about that. I turned off my vehicle all the way off. I don't need there to be no discrepancy as to whether or not me nor the Bearmobile was trying to escape. Jay Dizzle, what's up? And so what I did was, after I turned the vehicle off, if you got a newer vehicle, you can still hit your windows and let them roll down. So I rolled down the window. I could see the officer. He wasn't even in a regular police car. He was in one of them Durangos with the blacked out windows. So I didn't know if he was working with the drug task force or what, but it didn't matter to me. Roll down the window, and I keep all of my information right above the sun visor. You should too. I don't put mine in the armrest. I ain't keeping it in the glove compartment. I'm not keeping my stuff nowhere where you got to be pulling over to the side, because that's what gets some of y'all with the tear marks in your family. So as he approaches the window, I already have out my driver's license and my registration. Nikki Carter said he could have snatched you. James said they got a fleet around there. Absolutely. Well, first of all, Nikki Carter, he had no reason to. Because you know what I said to him, people? And mind you, I am a person of medium level intelligence. And I believe myself to be somebody who doesn't have to fear just walking around. But when he came, I handed it. He said, matter of fact, he said, hey there, guy, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said to him, yes, I do. I said I was probably speeding, had a lot of stuff on my mind, but I do believe I was speeding, and I apologize, sir, as I handed him my license and registration. He gently tapped on my window's edge, pap, pap. He said, let me go back here and run your license. He said, and we'll talk when I come back. And this white guy is back there, probably no more than about 5 minutes, but it seemed like 5 hours. As everybody drives past you and you're sitting on the side of the road with shame. And he finally comes back to the car. And when I look, I see him fumbling around and writing. So I said, hey, I must be getting a ticket. And I'm already thinking to myself, I'm going to have to take me one of them classes so this don't be on my insurance. He gets out the car and he's got a yellow slip of paper in his hand, along with my ID and my registration. And he comes to the car, and just as cool as the other side of the pillar, he says, you know what? I appreciate you being straight up with me. He said, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give you this warning. He said, and I know you got some things on your mind. I've had some bad days too. Have a good one. Just slow it down for me, all right? And I said, thank you, officer. I took my little yellow ticket. I rolled my window up, and I proceeded to drive slower than somebody on rollerblades. James said, were those two guys standing at the post office watching? Absolutely. And I say this to you all so that you understand sometimes you control the outcome. I don't know who this is. Somebody up here. Let me go ahead and delete this individual. But I say this to you all because I want you guys to understand that how you handle something plays a major role in the outcome of it. And the outcome of today's actions, by me being respectful and recognizing that while you can do something, you don't always have to do that thing. All right? And so I took the opportunity to be respectful. Now, how does that apply to what we're talking about on tonight's event? Well, it applies to it this way. You didn't have the guy who was, let me say it this way, the guy who was the band director, he made a choice. And the choice was, matter of fact, let me block, y'all give me a second. Let me block this user. And then let me delete the comment. There we go. We ain't got to worry about that individual anymore. All right. So when you say that the band director did not deserve to be tased nor arrested, I'm uncertain about that. Now, was the band director within his rights to be playing? Yes. But the police were just trying to clear out the place. The band director himself came with an aggressive tone. Annie Moore said he wasn't ready to comply, so he kept doing his thing. Absolutely. April Brown, what's going on? Glad to see you. Essie Shepherd, glad to see you. Look at all y'all out here in listening land. And so, again, I want to differentiate between whether he was legally within his rights to be playing, because he was, and whether or not he should have just simply complied and made it so that everybody could go on their way. As the officers was talking to him, and he talked about, man, get up out my face, brushing them to the side, antagonizing them more. You got a female officer in the front, like, hey, look, you gonna mess around and get arrested. You need to go ahead and shut this down. And Robin Williams, what's going on? Glad to see you. And he doing more like this. And I think it was too much, people. Because everything you can do, you don't have to do. Brother Sizemore said, why would the police try to end that? It's fifth quarter. I'm sure they have done this before. Brother Sizemore, you're right. Maybe they have. But there comes a point, and clearly the game is over. Clearly the field is clear. The other side is clear. So, again, the question isn't whether or not he was within his legal rights to be doing it. It's when the police said, hey, we trying to clear out the place, get everybody out of here safely. Was there a secondary approach that he could have just complied? And then if he wanted to talk about it later, yes, he could. Even he said it was only a minute left. So let's use his words. It's only a minute left in the song. So was that minute to prove to the police that you're going to do what you want to do because you can do it? Was it worth it? Now, let me tell you why I am on the fence about the tasing. It is my belief when the police tells you that they are going to tase you, you still keep on with they shouldn't have tased him. If you at the club, some of y'all still go to the club, I don't, but let's say you still go to the club, and there's an altercation and you hear somebody say, don't make me go to the trunk of my car, and you see that person leave out that building, sure, you can stay in there if you want to, but there's likely to be a consequence. Sure, you can say, hey, look, I don't care where he going. I paid to get in this club, and I'm staying in here drinking and dancing until I get my money's worth. You could do that. But if you in a club and somebody says, keep on playing and I'm going to the car, and they go out their door, if they come back in with a gun and shoot up the place, they were 100% wrong. But if you got shot because you wanted to prove a point that I don't care if you threatening to kill up everybody in here, I ain't leaving. And there lies the dilemma here. Brother Sizemore say, hit him twice, 3 times. I am of the mindset that you live to fight another day. I am of the mindset that if you believe that the law enforcement did something illegal, then you allow them to do that, to make you disperse, and then you take it up. You put it on YouTube. You bring awareness to it that way. You don't decide that I'm gonna take this stand, and I don't care what the outcome is, because the outcome is often not what you want. And I would dare to say I'd be surprised if the officers wound up facing any kind of penalty because law enforcement in this particular case could make the reasonable argument that it was for everyone's safety, since the game was over, to try to get every patron out of there as soon as possible, safely as possible. James said, every stand ain't the best stand. You're absolutely right, James. And that's the point that I'm making. A lot of us want to stand like Muhammad on the mountain and say, I shall not be moved, until you got to pay the cost. Matter of fact, had an uncle, God rest his soul, named Johnny McKee Sr. And he used to say all the time, it costs to be the boss. And some of y'all may have heard that before in your lifetime, but it doesn't just apply to whether or not you got enough bread in your pocket to command a certain space. It means if you want to do what you want to do, you got to be man enough to pay the piper when the costs come due. Matter of fact, for my white compadres, Kenny Rogers said, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when to run. Said you can't count your money while folks is sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. What they're telling you is you got to know when you done pressed your luck too far. You got to know when you done made one too many bids. You got to know when you in a zero-sum game. And I believe that the band director, while he was initially not the antagonist, he became the antagonist. He can't even say it was an unlawful order, because there truly could be a conflict between the agreement of the two schools and the band director and the directives of the school to law enforcement about what transpires at the end of the game. The band director was probably 100% accurate when he says the two schools agreed that the song would be played. He might even be accurate in saying the two schools agreed that the song would be played at the end of the game. But if that message were not conveyed to law enforcement, and law enforcement's directives were, as soon as the game is over, law enforcement should begin orderly escorting people to leave the premises for the safety of the people and to clear them out, because the interest of the institution is that everybody leaves safely without incident. Officer, and he came and said, hey, the game is over. We're trying to clear everybody out, and you guys need to stop playing because people aren't leaving. They are listening to, dancing to, chilling to the music. I don't think there's anything to be done to the officers. James said he didn't understand safety was the issue. The game ended late. Well, all right, let me put it a different way. If the law enforcement had a standing order that at the end of the game to immediately begin to clear people, and they were doing their jobs, and the band director said, hey, they told us we could play this song, and the band director said it was only a minute left in the song, if the law enforcement gave you a lawful order at some point and said, you need to stop your band from playing and go ahead and clear out, we're trying to get everybody out here safely, It doesn't matter if the band director thought his mindset superseded that of the officer. The officer had the both authority and the right to tell him we need to clear the place out, and what you are doing is hampering those efforts. And that's just the way that while we as Black folks, Negroes, whatever you want to call yourself, African Americans, we like to stand 10 toes down on every situation. James said the school is already turning off the lights. Absolutely. And that makes a difference. In the video, you could clearly see before the man was ever tased, they were turning off lights in the stadium. So that was a secondary signal that you tripping. And even while the lights were going out, the band director was signaling to the band members, play even louder. Give us the crescendo, if you will. So think about it, people. Was the band director wrongfully tased if he was given every opportunity to comply, and rather than comply, he became more combative in his approach? Now, they say at some point he hit an officer. He said, hey, the lights went out, people were grabbing me, whatever. I agree. James said he put them kids in harm's way. Absolutely. Nikki Carter said he had to finish the song. April Brown says schools are getting stricter on the behavior at games. There was a school here that didn't allow spectators to attend. A lot are adopting the rules that anyone under 18 to have an adult escort. James said, come on, Nikki, with that foolishness. So I want you guys to think about, are we becoming advocates of ignorance? Are we putting law enforcement in such foolish positions and then getting mad when they do what they, hey, look, truth be told, even if he struck an officer that he didn't know was an officer because the lights was out, most juries are going to say, fool, if the lights was out, you should have been out of there too. And while we know that there are some officers out there that do an absolutely poor job, the majority of the officers aren't setting out every day to want to have altercation and do a bunch of paperwork because they out there wrestling with one of you fools. And now everybody talking about, oh, they out to sue. What's your suable offense? That you got tased and arrested? You're going to have some folk that say you could have got killed. James said, what would you say if a child got trampled? Absolutely. I agree with James 100% on this. See, you all say that, not thinking about the outcome to somebody potentially other than the band director. And we're not being fair to law enforcement by trying to create a standard that puts them in compromising positions every time somebody, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise, decides I got a point to prove to. Truth be told, let me just go ahead and say it. I don't think the officers did nothing wrong. Just like that officer that stopped me today, James said the light should be on. James said, and they should have left on that lawful order. Absolutely. But just like that officer that pulled me over today, I knew that, first of all, I knew I was in the wrong. But I could have made a big fuss. I don't know why you pulled me over. You probably pulled me over because I'm black. I could have went down that path. And it potentially would have been a different outcome. But I chose the outcome that says I'm going to respect what the officer's job is. I'm going to give the officer the yes, sir, the driver's license, the proof of registration. Nikki said, if I was that cop, I would give you a ticket. That's why you don't have a badge and you ain't no cop. But it goes to show you that in some cases, maybe not all, showing a little respect, thinking about how do I ensure that I make it home today? How do I ensure that I make it to destination B? Or if you're going to the store and it happens, how do I ensure I'm going to the store? How do I ensure I'm going to the mall, to church, wherever you get pulled over? Cassandra said, my opinion, it could have been handled differently, especially in front of the children/students. Tasing in this instance may have been excessive for this scenario. And she says, I didn't see the video. I can respect that, Cassandra. The reason why I don't believe that it was excessive is because when given several opportunities to comply, the band director not only said, get out my face, but began to antagonize the officers by commanding the band to play louder, stronger. There was no sense of, let me not escalate on the part of the band director. It was just the opposite. James is trying to let you know what I know, Cassandra. It was a lot of pushing and shoving of officers. April said most people, officers included, typically give respect and listen when they receive respect. And so, because Cassandra says she has yet to see it, and I find her to be a well-rounded individual, I am confident that once she sees the video, there may be a change in thought process, because the antagonizing of the situation is why I believe that when you push and push and push, and once there is contact made, they are going to, and James said they did try to detain him and he resisted. We could also say that the officer showed restraint, because how many times have we seen a person wind up dead when you can attach the phrase, there was some pushing and shoving of police officers and resisting arrest, and the person on the other side of that conversation is a African-American male, a black man, a Negro male, if you will. How many times have we seen that wind up with the headline is, man killed by officers? So if the tasing was the least violent of the options, they could have pulled out them batons and commenced to beating the brakes off him. He could have been lumped up and we'd have been saying something about that. So, in my opinion, while Cassandra has a point and said it could have been handled differently, especially in front of the children, I wonder if these actions was a learning, teachable moment for the students. April said, while I haven't seen the video, if the band director is terminated because of his behavior, he will still think his behavior was appropriate or worth playing the last minute of a song. Will he, is the question she's asking. But I dare to say, we are putting law enforcement in a no-win situation. We know that even the band director himself does not dispute in his own words that he may have shoved law enforcement because he said he didn't necessarily know it was law enforcement because the lights had been turned out. So if he's agreeing that he did potentially shove or push law enforcement, and law enforcement used the most non-lethal form of violence to detain him, can't we at least agree that that was a win in this situation? Because the answer could not and should not, in my humble opinion, be let the man do what he want to do. Especially when he's doing it in front of those same kids that Cassandra was talking about. Imagine if you don't detain this man, what message it sends to all of those young black teenagers about disrespecting law enforcement. If they don't see the consequence of the action, many of them leave that night and would have been saying, man, I was out there, the band director talk smack to the police and they ain't do nothing to him. And in this world of social media, it would have been the wrong teachable moment. So I am not at all mad that the man wound up tased, arrested. He made bail, got out, went home, lived to fight another day. We'll see if going to court, we'll see what a jury says was appropriate or not. But I am almost willing to bet you all $1 to a donut that no jury is going to find those officers liable when they watch that video. Because a jury of your peers hearing an officer give you multiple opportunities to comply is not going to give a rat about you wanting to get the last minute of a song done. They're going to see it as you were trying to either make the video highlights or you were trying to prove that ain't nobody going to tell me nothing. And that's just not something that most Americans, black, white, or otherwise, is down with. Most of them, if they listen to the show tonight, are going to say, but Dr. Sinclair had a point that it could have turned out worse if the officers wanted it to. Because once you resist arrest, push an officer, most people, many people, some people wind up dead. And in this case, because it didn't happen, and he lived to be on TV with his lawyer, and by the flip side, let me say this, because I respect the judicial system, I believe that the band director has a right to sue. Just like I believe the officers were in their right, I believe he has a right to sue. And I believe if they can make a compelling argument, he's got a 20% chance. But overwhelmingly, I believe law enforcement is going to prevail because most folks are going to say the stadium was cleared out, the lights were being turned off. They asked him multiple times to just have the band to stop playing and go ahead and clear out. And in the end, it wasn't law enforcement. They're going to hear that black man saying, man, get up out of my face. They're going to hear the officer say, what you going to do if we don't? Man, you better get up out my face. They're going to see him antagonizing the officer by telling the band, play louder, louder, give me the percussions. And in the end, all he would have gotten is 15 minutes of fame, some taser marks, some lower legal expenses, and really making a fool out of himself and teaching our young people the absolute wrong thing. I know some of you feel different, and that's okay, because we exist in a world where it is necessary for us to be able to be agreeable and still disagree. And for me, people, time is up. We're going to call it a night. Uncle Cindy Sin got things to do. Got a work day tomorrow. But I want to tell y'all something. Get your steps in. Make sure that you consider the consequence of your actions, because every action, good or bad, has a consequence.
It's about that time, baby. Oh, yeah. Here we go.
The Sinclair Show is on.
It is on.
Run into your friends. Come on.
Come on.
It's a moment of the show tonight.